Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Earth Date Y2K 19.02.13. Mike Pence, Theological Anti-Semite. By the way, more on Congressperson Omar later, another time. Mike Pence is over in Poland where he and his wife are going to desecrate the memories of those Jews murdered in Auschwitz, as well as those of my tribe that were murdered in the Warsaw Ghetto. Millions of Jews were murdered in Eastern Europe even before the rise of the Nazis. The anti-Jewish tropes at those times included blood libels, well poisonings, Christ killings. The name of the game throughout the time of the Jewish people in Eastern Europe and Western Europe was separate Jews into ghettos in the cities and have them live in shtetls in the country. And whenever you wanted to, especially during Easter week, mobs of Western again or Eastern European Christian believers would gather to descend upon those communities to murder, rape, pillage, in what was called pogroms, also known as mass murder lynchings. When the creep Pence introduced himself for the first time, at least on this national stage of presidential runnings and everything, he called himself a Christian first before saying American. He was, after all, representing his own religious group when he is supposed to be running to serve all Americans. Pence turns out to also be a liar, just as his boss is, and a father of lies. I believe if we impeach Trump and succeed, we should also impeach Pence because he's just as culpable. He's just as guilty. He's just as big a dangerous hypocrite as the rest, as we all know. A hateful slime. We'd end up with Nancy Pelosi as president of the country. I don't need Pence. I don't need this clone of Red Grant from Russia with Love. I don't need his or her kind to support Israel. In fact, I repudiate it. I don't want to cynically use fundamentalist Christians just because they support Israel, as many on the extremist right in Israel cynically do. But that's okay, right? Mike Pence believes in a fundamentalist interpretation of the Bible. He is a Christian religious extremist, ladies and gentlemen, who, if he had his way, would make of our country something straight out of, that's right, I hate to use it over and over again, The Handmaid's Tale. Or worse. His New Testament that he fervently believes in is filled with anti-Semitic tropes, including such verses as Matthew 27:24-25, where a mob of Jews scream that Jesus' blood should be on their heads and on the heads of their children. Or check out John 8:44, where this so-called holy man brands my tribe the sons and daughters of Satan. And there are many more hate-filled passages against Jews to be found in this alleged loving book. But one of the worst promises of the New Testament is that when all the Jews are gathered into Israel, Jesus will return and destroy all the unbelievers among them, except for several thousand believers, or thereabouts. You can see all of this in the book of Revelations. And this is the reason why Christians, like Pence, support Israel with all their fanatic being. They are looking for the end times. They really believe this stuff. Fundamentalists, you have to understand, whatever religion they are, they fervently and really believe in the shit that they dish out. They are looking, once again, for the end of the world. And of course, they don't mention this, the end of the Jewish people as we know them. I condemn the anti-Zionist, anti-Semitic members of the left. And believe me, they really burn me, including Congresswoman Omar, who I would still, actually, if she was running for president and she became the front runner of the Democratic Party, I would be forced to vote for her in our two-party republic, rather than have fascism in my country here in America, just to keep Israel safe. And I know, with perfect faith, not in a God, but in the tenacity of my tribe, that we're going to be safe. Because if people like Omar, even though I vote her in as president, decides to back Israel against the wall, we will do the Masada on them. We will kill ourselves. And if we have to, the entire human race with us, if we don't have a right, our tribal lands as well. And again, we can talk more about this, the definition of tribal lands, etc. Right now, I'm just pissed off about this piece of shit Pence, who I despise, who would be, I mean, talk about Trump. Imagine this creep as president of our country. I condemn the anti-Zionist and anti-Semitic members of the left. I consider them ignorant adherents to a propaganda that created an entire fake people. Now they're real. Now they're valid, thanks to the revision of history. But no matter what these folks think, they are never ever going to create their country on top of the tomb and grave of the nation of Israel. I live in this nation. So whoever's going to run on the Democratic ticket, I'm going to vote for, whether I despise them or not. Even Mike Bloomberg, who happens to be a Jew. And I also reject the pro-Zionist and cynical Jew love of the members of the extreme right. Their goal is to see the disappearance of my tribe as well. Read the book of Revelations. I happen to believe that Pence and his ilk believe that God created Hitler so that Jews should return to Israel so that Jesus can come back and finish the job that the Nazi dictators started. What a sick bunch of fucks we human naked apes are. I take Pence's support of Israel and his cynical love of my tribe, the Jews, and I take that and I roll this up into a long tube where I hope that Reverend Father Pence shoves it up the dark recesses of his malignant tumor tuchus. Friends, folks, I have more to say on this matter. I hate to say it because I like to keep do-rag wisdom as secular as I can, not tribal. I have more to say on this matter in any event, and on the matter of Congressperson Omar. I have to address that issue. I knew it was going to come up. The left just hates us Zionists supporting. Zionists and Zionists supporting. But I want to leave you with this. There is never, ever going to be peace in the Middle East because of religion. And we're going to talk more about that another time. There is never going to be peace among humans who will remain naked ape savages because of religion. Mike Pence is a purveyor of hatred, of ignorance, of theological anti-Semitism, racism, homophobia, Islamophobia, religious extremism, and of course, he is a purveyor. Mike Pence, curse you and what you're doing in Poland. You're not doing me any favors, you religious extremist, hypocritical bastard Trumpist. You're a purveyor of death.